Have you ever noticed where there's some people that always seem to be doing something else, like some big thing, and they get one thing done, they're on to the next thing, and you look at that and say, man, how do these people get so many things done, while there's other people who sit around and talk about the things that they want to do? I want to help you in this video, sort of share some insight today to help you move from a person who talks about things into a person who does things. Some people make excuses while other people make waves. Okay, so here's what that looks like. There are some people that always talk about the next big thing. I can't wait until I do this, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to do this big thing. And several years later, you talk to them again, they're still talking about the things that they want to do, but they never actually do it. I remember King David, and this was back when he was just a shepherd boy. You remember how the story goes. He shows up on the battlefield. The giant is out there bellowing threats. Everybody's scared to death. The entire group of Hebrew soldiers are doing nothing more than making excuses. And while they were making excuses, David was making plans. He in fact went to the king. The king sort of highlighted some of those excuses, and he said to David, listen, you're just a boy. You're just a youth. This man has been a champion from his youth. You're not able to go out and defeat the giant. And so while other people were immersed in what could not happen, David's faith was locked onto what absolutely could happen. He went out, instead of talking about it, he went out and picked up some smooth stones, he put them in a pouch, got his sling ready, walked out on the battlefield, did everything that was necessary in that day to win the battle. Of course, as you know, he brought back the head of the champion. I want to give you just a couple of principles here today that I believe can help us in terms of transitioning into that mindset that says we absolutely can. We've got to stop spinning our wheels, and we've got to get some traction here and make some things happen. I remember my grandfather used to always say this to me. He would say this, either pee or get off the pot. And that I know that sounds a little kind of weird, a little rough here, but the truth is this: sometimes that's what we do. We just sit around and talk about things, but we've got to move ourselves into a place where we actually take the initiative to step out. Number one, I want you to do this. Begin to weigh cost versus reward. Okay, so is the reward great enough to warrant the cost? There are going to be some things that you look at in your life and you say, you know what, this is not worth it. It's going to cost too much money, or it's going to cost too much time. It's going to pull me away from my family, or I'm not sure enough about the success of this thing that I'm willing to put everything out there. And there are some legitimate things that you may not be able to do, may not have the resource, the ability, and it may not be that opportune moment or that opportune time, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But when you weigh that out, count the cost. Jesus talked about that in the Bible, counting the cost. Nobody builds a building without first counting the cost. So when you do that, and if you say, you know what, yes, it is going to cost me an awful lot, but the reward is greater than the risk, or the reward is greater than the cost. You know, David actually did that in the battle. In fact, he asked, if you read the story carefully, several times, he asked the people around him, what shall be done for the man who defeats the giant? So that became a critical catalyst in terms of moving David forward. He said, you know what, the reward is so great, I'm willing to take that risk, I'm willing to pay that price. So here's the deal. If you look at something and you say, you know what, it's not worth the price, I can't do it, or I don't want to do it, I don't think the value's there, the opportunity's not here, maybe it's not the timing, that's fine. But here's the deal. Here's what you do. Pull your resource away from that and shift into something that is of worth, that is of value, that you can accomplish, that you do deem that the price tag attached to that is worth the cost associated with it. So what I see a lot of people do, they put all their energy into things that is maybe not their time, or maybe they're just not willing to put in the time, I don't know, but they put their energy into things that are never going anywhere. If you see that happening, don't allow your life to end up in this downward spiral of not accomplishing things. Pull out of that and put your investment into something that is. Maybe this business is not the right thing, but maybe that one is. Maybe this situation is not the right time, but maybe there is another one that is. So don't invest in things that you know are not going to work. And when I say invest, I mean mentally, emotionally, your time, even your conversation. Pull out of things that you don't deem worthy of your time. But, okay, when you do count the cost and you say, okay, this thing is worth my time, this thing is worth my effort, yes, I do believe that I can make this happen, then listen, if you're going to do it big. Go for it all the way, 100%. Don't just do things the easy way. Don't do things part of the way. Don't do things somewhat. Get out there and go 100%. The reason, and this is my experience here, but the single biggest reason why people do not see their goals and dreams accomplished is because they don't throw everything at it. They simply go half speed. If you want to see it happen, pull out all the plugs. Go, go, go. Give it everything you can. Give a wholehearted investment in it. That'll move you past that position. Listen, if you're making waves, you don't have time to make excuses. If you're making progress, you don't have time to sit back and say, well, I didn't do this or I can't do that. No, no, no. A person making waves is not making excuses. They're moving forward. So I want to encourage you in that. Pull out all the plugs. And I just want to say this today. Human nature for us is to take the easy way out. A lot of times we want to do that. Just do the simplest, do the easiest, do the shortest path, do the thing that doesn't cost. But listen, great things never come without a great price. It requires everything that you have if you're really going to be successful at those things. So listen, some of you need to hear this today. It's time to go start that business. It's time to go back to school. It's time to get that graduate degree. It's time to make a shift. It's time to ask that young lady to marry you. You know what I'm saying? It's time to take that step. So I want to just tell you today, it's time. It's time to move on. It's time, like my grandfather says, pee or get off the pot. Okay, do me a favor. Would you take a moment, like and subscribe to this channel, click that little bell notification to help us get some more information out to you in the future. You know what? Let's go. Kill the giant.